watching Color 10 News at 10 in high definition.
Tornado and flood warnings tonight and the threat of more severe weather tomorrow. This is a live picture here in Springfield. The rain kind of starting to taper off. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Ketz. David is off tonight. Well, all of this rain has even closed a road that is near Fair Grove. It's Old Mill Road that is near Farm Road 193. A dispatcher tells us that the road right now is under about 3 feet of water. We're also seeing a lot of street flooding in and around Springfield tonight. Tom Turton joins us now with your Ozarks First forecast. Tom.
Well, you're talking about the flash flooding in the area. Yes, it is widespread. Flooding will be a concern as we go through the overnight hours. We also have a couple of other concerns. There is a tornado warning in effect right now for portions of Benton County as well as Washington County down in Arkansas. You can see right down in the area here. This storm really has kind of held together as we've gone through the evening, the overnight, the afternoon hours. It is a rotating storm, maximum hail almost 2 inches in diameter, about an 80% chance of that. And you can see high fill is in the path of this storm in about 10 minutes. Elm Springs 10:24, Lowell at 10:34, Springdale 10:35, Tontitown about 10:25. So you can see that area. We do have the tornado warning that's in effect right now. We also have a couple of areas in Missouri. You can see portions of Taney County, also Christian County and Douglas County, a severe thunderstorm watch and a severe thunderstorm warning. Also a severe thunderstorm warning in portions of Texas, Dent, and Phelps counties as well. And these storms continue to pack punches, so you're looking at frequent cloud to ground lightning, very heavy rain, and the possibility of hail and damaging winds. I'll have more on these in just a bit.
Thank you, Tom. Now a developing story tonight. An election is on hold that was supposed to decide the future of a Walmart neighborhood market here in Springfield. A church that wants to sell the property to Walmart filed a restraining order against the city. Color 10's Justin Doherty explains why.
Ashley, the reason is not necessarily to get back at the city, but to put everything on pause. The election was supposed to take place in August, but due to today's events, that will not happen.
It's not zoned what they had applied for and received. So their request today was, don't allow it to go to a vote. We don't think it's legal to do what the referendum asks for.
A temporary restraining order filed by Life 360 Church put on the city of Springfield, a document that puts a hold on everything.
Nothing can go on that lot because the zoning's been undone.
City Attorney Dan Wickmer traces the cause of this restraining order back to when Walmart opponents got enough signatures on a petition to change the zoning from retail to residential.
So now the church and the homeowner claim that they lost money on the property, or they'll lose money on the property because it's not zoned what they had applied for and received.
With the temporary restraining order in place, a lot of significant dates changed. There was a rezoning election that was supposed to take place August 6th. That will no longer occur because it is state law that ballots must be printed 6 weeks prior to an election to be available for absentees. That is June 11th. And the restraining order lasts till June 13th, so that knocks out the day that the ballots were supposed to be printed. So the next important date between the city and the Life 360 Church is July 19th, when a trial will be held.
The hearing will be on the 19th, and then thereafter the judge will enter a decision at some point.
Once the judge's decision is entered, an election is expected in November.
At the earliest, if not, the next April. Again, depending on appeals.
And you heard Wickmer say April. That's because if there's not an election in November, the next available date for an election will be in April. But overall, Wickmer said this case could last up to a year.
Wow, thank you, Justin. And now here is a timeline of all the events involving this proposed Walmart neighborhood market. In February, Springfield City Council approved a zoning change at Grand and Campbell, clearing the way for Walmart. In March, opponents began gathering signatures for a petition to reverse the decision. In April, that petition was certified, which means a change was required. The City Council had to either change the zoning or put the issue to a public vote. Last week, the council decided on an election, and today a judge issued a restraining order putting that election on hold. New at 10, a Springfield City Council member wants to hear from the public about proposed changes to the city charter. Tonight, Doug Burleson held a meeting about the initiative petition process. Last August, voters rejected setting a one-year time limit for gathering signatures, but they approved increasing the number of signatures required.
This is basically the constitution of the city, and any changes or discussions that get made, it's important that a lot of people get involved in that process.
There will be 2 more of these public meetings about the proposed charter changes. The next one is on June 4th. The last one has not yet been scheduled. Tomorrow, the public can weigh in on a plan to make pseudoephedrine a prescription medication in Springfield. There will be a meeting at 5:30 at the Dan Kinney Family Center on Blackman Road. A city council committee recently recommended that pseudoephedrine require a prescription in an effort to cut down on meth production. The council has not yet voted on the proposal. New tonight, Springfield now accepts applications for tourism grant money thanks to a tax reallocation. Tonight's meeting was the first chance for the public to learn about the application process for the more than $250,000 that will be up for grabs each year. In July of 2011, Bass Pro Shops decided to give up a portion of the half-cent hotel motel tax that was allocated for Wonders of Wildlife since it was closed. The Discovery Center, History Museum, and Ozarks Greenways have already shown interest in the grant.
The committee will be looking at projects that will hopefully generate overnight travel, and those are the ones that are going to be looked upon most favorably.
Nonprofits that need capital improvements can apply for this money. You can find a link to the application on ozarksfirst.com. A public memorial next month will give the public a chance to say goodbye to Springfield icon John Q. Hammonds. That event will be held on June 11th at JQH Arena. It begins at 1:30. Hammonds died Sunday at Elfindale Manor. His many business ventures included more than 200 hotel properties in more than 40 states, and his name is on many Springfield landmarks. Hammonds was 94 years old. T-shirts can now help tornado victims. Springfield company The Greek Corner is selling custom graphic T-shirts that say more than just hope. Those prices will start at $16. The profits will go to Convoy of Hope, which has volunteers in Moore, Oklahoma that are helping with the recovery efforts from last week's massive tornado.
We're not a large company and we don't have a lot of resources to give, but printing T-shirts is what we do best, and so we decided that we would print these T-shirts and give the proceeds to Convoy of Hope, and they would distribute the funds to Oklahoma the best way they see fit.
That EF5 tornado destroyed much of Moore and killed 24 people. New at 10, be bear aware. Recent black bear sightings in the Ozarks prompts that message from the Missouri Department of Conservation. Color 10's Kevin Schwaller met up with a woman who caught a bear on camera. Kevin.
Yeah, we heard about this bear strolling through Marshfield yesterday. Conservation agents believe it was a young bear looking for food, and then we saw this video of the bear going through a neighborhood, so we traveled to Marshfield to find the story behind the video.
Oh, it's going to our backyard. A few strides from I-44.
No, that's definitely not something that you think that you would ever see.
A dog was the smallest of Erica McCall's worries. She and her husband were coming home from the store and saw this.
I'm under my trampoline, bear! Across the street and directly beeline towards our trampoline.
Her kids were still at home.
He was worried that the kids were going to see the bear out here and be like, ooh, a teddy bear, and run out back.
McCall got this bear on video as she was driving down the street, and it's not the only bear caught on camera in the Ozarks recently.
Just anecdotally, it sure seems like we're getting a lot more black bear calls than usual.
Francis Kaliski says he can't say for sure bear sightings are up higher than normal. Still, in the last few weeks, people reported seeing black bears in Marshfield, Lamar, Monette, Verona, Stone County, and these are pictures of a bear in southern Camden County.
Probably what most you're seeing are dispersed 2-year-olds. When bears are 2 years old, the mother kind of kicks them away, pushes them out on their own.
And we have our trash over here, and it was open like, oh no, he's going to see food, he's going to smell food, and he's going to want to come back.
McCall says so far the bear has stayed away, and she wants to be sure that doesn't change.
And this here is potential bear food. That's why the Conservation Department says you want to make sure to keep those lids on the trash cans and don't leave that pet food outside. That's all potential food for bears that can make them want to keep coming back to your home, to your backyard, or maybe just your neighborhood. Another reason why people are seeing more bears out right now is it's the start of the bear mating season. Reporting live from here in Springfield, Kevin Schwaller, Color 10 News.
Thank you, Kevin. We also have a guide to dealing with black bears and an extended interview with the Conservation Department. You can find it on ozarksfirst.com. Well, from bears to snakes, there are many venomous varieties here in the Ozarks.
I felt like getting stung by 500 bees.
Dr. Jeanette Neshwat explains the do's and don'ts if you or someone you know gets bitten. And if you haven't already found Color 10 on Facebook, it's easy to do. Look for the Facebook icon on ozarksfirst.com and go like our page. In tonight's medical coverage, when venomous snakes cross paths with humans, both can be startled and panicked, and these encounters often result in snake bites. The most common ones in the Ozarks are rattlesnakes, copperheads, and water moccasins. So what do you do if you get bitten by one of these poisonous snakes? Tonight, Dr. Jeanette Neshwat explains that as scary as it might be, a snake bite is usually not life-threatening.
9-year-old Levi experienced a snake bite when he was 7. He was playing at a campground after dark.
I was playing with a flashlight and I stepped on the snake and it bit me. It felt like getting stung by 500 bees.
Levi's dad knew what it was right away.
It just looked like 2 little puncture wounds, and it was just red and a little bloody. And then within, I'd say about 3 hours, then it really started swelling up pretty good.
One of the most common reactions to a snake bite can be bruising, bleeding, swelling, and sometimes soft tissue damage. There are over 10,000 snake bites in this country alone. A handful of them result in death, and very rarely is antivenom used. Levi's case was like most snake bites. He didn't require any major medical intervention. Levi's dad was surprised.
They didn't want to give it to him, the snake bite venom, since he didn't need it.
Levi was better in just a few days.
swell up, so I was walking on my right foot, on my tippy toe.
If you think you've been bitten by a snake, the first thing to remember is don't panic. Never try to use a tourniquet, and never try to suck and cut the venom out of a wound. Instead, try to immobilize the extremity in which you've been bitten. And then, get the keys to the car and head straight to the hospital. I'm Dr. Jeanette Neshwat.
Very good information there, and some things that you can do to prevent snakes from making a home around your home is to keep your grass cut low and also keep your shrubs trimmed. Also be very careful around trash and wood piles. That's where snakes like to hide. And if you are in the woods or maybe out hiking, make sure you wear the proper protective footwear. And now let's turn to Tom Turton. He has an update on tonight's weather. A lot of rainfall in a short amount of time, Tom.
Absolutely. We've had heavy rains. We have had flash flooding. There are severe thunderstorm warnings, and tornado warning does continue in northwestern Arkansas. I'll have more on all of that coming up right after the break.
Now, Color 10 News weather expert Tom Turton.
And it just keeps moving on. Showers and thunderstorms in the Ozarks, some of them heavy. We'll take a look at radar to start things out with. Again, want to remind you, it's kind of spread a little bit, as you can see. The severe thunderstorm, the tornado warning has kind of gotten larger in Arkansas, and we're talking about, aerial coverage now has increased to the 4 northwesternmost counties in Arkansas. It is, this one is not picking up a rotation, but This is tornado warned because it had been rotating at one time. It's kind of moving in an easterly direction. So if you, if you kind of take a look at this area right here, which is slightly bowed, it's moving in an easterly direction. There are the different cities and towns that are in the path of the storm: Little Flock, Elm Springs, Rogers, Tontitown, Lowell, Avoca. All of these towns in the path of the storm as it continues to move. So, folks, this is tornado warned. So you do want to seek shelter at this time as this storm continues to move through the Ozarks. And as I said, it's moving in an easterly direction. Now I'm going to zoom back out and then take you to the next area of concern, which is the severe thunderstorm warning. And we're talking for portions of Dent County, Texas County, a little bit of Phelps County. And again, the area that we're looking at is this right here. You can see just a little bit of a bowing area there. And this is moving more toward the northeast. So Salem, Viburnum are in the path of this storm as it continues to travel to the northeast. About 40 minutes in Viburnum, could be a little sooner than that, and Salem in about 8 minutes. Nonetheless, we continue to see these strong thunderstorms move through the Ozarks. You're talking about hail, frequent cloud-to-ground lightning, heavy rain, and due to the heavy rain and the training effect over different areas of the Ozarks, kind of training over the same areas of the Ozarks, you can see we do have flash flood warnings for a good portion of the Ozarks right now. Watch the low water crossings. We do have a list of all of those on our website, ozarksfirst.com, and it will continually be updated by the National Weather Service. But if you're in, if you're in an area with low water crossing, or you're near any streams, flooding is imminent or is already happening. So you do want to be very aware. Flash flooding, it does kill many people, so take it very, very seriously. The tornado, again, warning remains in effect for northern Benton, Washington, northern Washington, western Benton counties, moving to the east. And you have Highfield, Vaughan, Centerton, Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport, of course, Miller, Rocky Comfort, Savoy, Healing Springs, Bella Vista, Bentonville. All of those towns are right near where that storm is moving. You do want to be aware, and if you are in that warned area, you do want to seek shelter at this time. And then the severe thunderstorm watch, of course, for portions of Phelps, Texas, and Dent County. That continues to move to the northeast. So all of these storms, frequent cloud-to-ground lightning, you have heavy rain, you have damaging winds, and in northwest Arkansas, tornado hasn't been reported on the ground. These are, indicators with turning in the storm system, and so radar is indicating possible, and you could have one drop, so take it very seriously.
That's right. It will be moving east. That's right.
That one is moving east, which, it kind of moves east, and when it does, it can kind of pick up a little more energy than it began with. So we may be watching this storm as it continues to move through northern Arkansas.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Keep us posted.
Also, the changeup. There it is, the changeup. A strikeout of Gordon.
Walk-A-Mania continues at Busch Stadium. Dan Lucy's coming up in sports. He's got highlights from the I-70 series and good news from the state baseball championships.
Now, the Chevy Dealer Sports Report with Dan Lucy.
The St. Louis Cardinals and Kansas City Royals are wrapping up their I-70 series tonight at Busch Stadium. The Royals named Hall of Famer George Brett as an interim hitting coach today for about a month. The Cardinals pitching heralded rookie 21-year-old Michael Wacha. St. Louis has won 4 in a row, 8 of its last 10, sits 2.5 games in front of the Reds in the Central. Wacha making it to the bigs in less than a year out of Texas A&M, and he would start his big league career by striking out Alex Gordon swinging right there, and his teammates would give him some offensive help early. First inning, Alan Craig singles up the middle. Matt Carpenter comes in to score, and it was a 1-0 St. Louis lead on that play. Cardinals would get more. David Freese would follow with a single up the middle. Craig comes in to score, and it was 2-0 St. Louis after 1. Wacha throwing BB strikes out Lorenzo Cain with the check swing right here, one of his 6 on the evening. And then in the bottom of the second inning, Wacha would single to right in his first major league at bat. How about that? Kansas City, though, would cut that lead in half in the 5th. Elliott Johnson singles to right. Lorenzo Cain comes in to score 2-1. Wacha goes 7 innings, gave up just that 1 run with 6 Ks. Jeff Francoeur moments ago hit a home run to left in the 9th. Right now it's a 2-2 game in the 9th inning. The Cards currently 35-17. They'll open a weekend series with the San Francisco Giants tomorrow night. The Royals go to Texas. The Springfield Cardinals and Frisco Rough Riders wrapped up their series at Dr. Pepper Ballpark in Texas tonight. Last night's rainout forced a doubleheader. Today, Cards trying to snap a 6-game losing streak. They had some bad news and good news. Bad news, Frisco wins game 1 to make the losing streak go to 7. But then that's where it ended, because the good news is the Cards won the nightcap 6-0. Xavier Scruggs, Luis Mateo hit home runs for Springfield. Cardinals go to Midland for 3 tomorrow. Junior pitcher Nick Petrie has become the first 3-time All-American in the history of Missouri State baseball. Collegiate baseball put the right-handed pitcher on their second team today. Petrie was 8-1 with a 1.61 earned run average this past year. The Clinton, Missouri native led the Valley with his 111 strikeouts. The Hartville Eagles did not let a little rain dampen their state baseball spirits today. Hartville won its first ever state baseball championship by coming from behind to beat West Platte and O'Fallon in the Class II state title game. The game was actually moved up about a half hour to try to beat the weather, and Hartville would jump out in front in the first. A.J. Buford grounds this one to second. The Jays would mess up the exchange. Hunter Simmons scores on the error. It was 1-0 Eagles. And then later in that first inning, West Platte with the wild pitch. Buford comes in to score, and it was 2-0 Hartville. Jays would get one of them back, though, in the second. Clay Lambrick would ground to second. The throw to first is wild. Cody Guthrie scores on the error, 2-1. Then the game held up for an hour and 16 minutes because of a thunderstorm. It's been raining in St. Louis all day. West Platte would take the lead when the game resumed. Top of the 5th, Lucas Horseman to left. 2-run score, 3-2. Hartville tied it up in the 7th, and then with 2 outs, Kevin Prock with this infield single to third. Drew Ince comes in to score. Eagles win the Class II state championship 4-3. Springfield Catholic Fighting Irish last won a state baseball championship in 1997. Now some 16 years later, the Irish back in the title game, and this after Catholic beat New Madrid Central in today's semis. Fighting Irish strike first in the 3rd. It's Eric Atwell. He grounds to second, and an error on the play allows Brayton Ballinger to come in to score to make it 1-0 Catholic. New Madrid Central would load the bases in the bottom half, of the Irish pitcher Matthew Tipton would get the grounder to come back to him, and then over to first for the out. And out of the inning, Irish would get more in the 4th. Tyler Ost singles to left. Danny Richardson scores to make it 2-0 Catholic, and the Fighting Irish go on to win 5-0. They'll play for a state championship tomorrow.
All right, we'll be right back.
Here are tonight's winning lottery numbers.
Well, we are out of time, but a good night to keep those weather radios on.
Absolutely. Pay attention to flooding, hail, lightning, heavy rains.
All right, good night. We'll see you tomorrow.